My name is Matt Sperrazza.
I'm Batman.
Welcome to the tangent.
I apologize. I don't know what happened, man. Yesterday, I lost my...
Did you get sick?
No, I'm not sick. That's the thing that kills me. I am quite healthy at the moment. Yesterday, I had the 7:30 mass and the 9 o'clock mass, and about halfway through the 9, I finished the homily and we did the creed, and then my voice was just not there anymore. In fact, I had a guy after mass. He said, "Father, what happened to your microphone? Was it not working?" And I'm like, "No, my voice isn't working."
Right.
So,
You know, what happens in that situation? I mean, like, you can, right, in the traditional Latin mass, much of the mass is said, like, in a low voice.
yeah.
But isn't it explicitly said that everything should be loud in the Novus Ordo?
Not everything, but yeah, there's certain things that you're supposed to say out loud. So I don't know if you've experienced this as a musician, as a singer, but you might not be having a voice problem, but you can still hit certain things when you sing. And so fortunately, the 9 o'clock mass, we sing the prayers, we sing the preface. So I was able to just chant those, and I can make myself heard with that. But today I can't. There's no way I'd be able to sing today. There's just nothing left.
I'm just opening the door for you. If you felt like singing throughout this episode, if you wanted to chant your responses,
I'm here
back.
And I'm singing, and you're my dad, and I love you. I love you.
What is that from again?
That's from Elf. And since this is our Christmas episode, I felt like I should make a great reference to one of the all-time great Christmas movies.
Yeah, one of the supreme Christmas movies.
Can you believe how old Elf is, though, now?
Is Elf in your top 3?
Probably. But so here's the thing. There's classic movies, like there's It's a Wonderful Life. That's a necessary Christmas movie, I think, and it's such a beautiful movie, and I really do appreciate it. There's a movie like Elf that's just really funny, and it just holds up. It holds up so well. And then I don't know if I've got like another movie that fits in there. I was talking the other day on Roar Like the Lamb. We talked a little bit about Muppet Christmas Carol, which I love the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Sure. Naturally.
Yeah, the old Alistair Sims Christmas Carol is quite excellent. It's really good.
So I like White Christmas a lot.
White Christmas is fun.
I had never seen it, and then I started dating Renee, and that's like their Christmas movie. That was the McIntyre Christmas movie, and so it has turned into one of my favorite Christmas movies.
It is a good one.
I can tell you the one that I hated was the claymation. I think it's the claymation Santa Claus movie with the fire guy and the ice guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Man, those ones, I mean, that terrified me as a child.
Yeah, well, claymation is definitely a fever dream, sort of an art form. And so,
yes.
No, you're not wrong to feel that way. I mean, you see the effects of acid.
I was like, this isn't right.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is actually a good segue into what I really want to talk about today, which is the comparison of like Catholic Christmas culture and secular Christmas culture.
Yeah.
And our jumping point, admittedly, isn't supposed to be Christmas movies, but I think it's appropriate.
It fits.
Given the fact that we live in the 21st century.
Yeah.
But rather an essay that I found in a C.S. Lewis book that I found in a used bookstore. Okay.
Nice.
In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Where the final essay in this book is called "What Christmas Means to Me."
Wait, what's the C.S. Lewis book?
C.S. Lewis.
Which book?
Sorry?
Which book is it?
The name of this book is "The Grand Miracle and Other Selected Essays on Theology and Ethics from God in the Dock."
Sweet.
So this is a compilation book that was definitely published after his death.
Okay.
Regardless, I enjoyed this essay for 2 reasons. The first is it is less than 2 pages long, and that kind of brevity, that's my sweet spot.
Yeah, right. It's your attention span.
Yeah, exactly. We do have a show called The Tangent.
Right.
The second reason that I really liked it is because he's giving I don't know. He's naming characteristics of Christmas during his lifetime. And the essay is kind of him just being a gripey old man. I mean, or at least that's the tone in which I read it, you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, there's the religious festival, and yeah, there's the popular holiday, but I hate buying gifts for people.
I think you actually distilled his final point very well. Uh,
Right? Yeah.
I
And
I also
I
thoroughly
loved
enjoyed
it.
this essay. I think it's great. What I appreciate with this is it's Lewis kind of at his best as in the proper sense of being a cultural
Hmm.
critic.
Hmm.
He's
Hmm.
not criticizing for the sake of criticizing, but he is pointing out some very real things, and it's important to make note of that stuff because at times, like some of the things that he's talking about are actually not good for us. Like it's not
Yes.
good that we have this approach to things, and maybe we need to examine that. Maybe that's something that
Right.
actually needs to or deserves some extra attention. So I
Yeah.
very much appreciated this. I was glad you shared it with me.
Right. And the name of the essay, I don't know if I said it. It's what Christmas means to me. Um. And so basically, like,
I feel
you
like
know,
that's a fifth grade writing assignment.
right,
Like,
right. And the other thing is that this essay does not detail what Christmas means to him.
isn't that
He just complains for like
is that
three
wait, isn't what
paragraphs.
Christmas means to me? Isn't that the theme that the kid in the Christmas story has to write? No, no, sorry. His
Mm,
was what I want for Christmas, and he wants the Red
mm,
Ryder BB gun. It wasn't what Christmas means to me. If Christmas
right,
meant to him a Red Ryder BB gun, we've got other problems. Anyway,
right. Yeah,
continue.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
continue.
Anyway, so
By the
so
way, A
the
Christmas
the
Story is a great Christmas movie, and
yes, yes. So is, hot take. I really enjoy the Polar Express. I like the Polar
what the one with
Express. I
like
know
the
some
dead-eyed
people
children,
are they dead?
like they've
No, this is the
it's
animated
all
movie.
CGI and like they've got there's no depth behind their eyes. They're just like looking at you, staring ahead.
Listen,
That's a
I like
creepy
the
movie.
Polar Express.
No, you're
I know that it's a hot take. I know people don't like it.
yeah,
I will die on this
yeah,
hill.
you're wrong
Okay.
for that. I don't think Tom Hanks
So,
likes that movie, and he's in it.
and Tom Hanks plays like 17 characters in it. Anyway, so I really one of the points that the thing he's griping about is the nuisance of buying gifts for people, but he's not griping about buying gifts for people that he loves. He's griping about the cultural mandate that you have to buy a gift for every single person you know. And I was thinking about this, and it was kind of apropos because yesterday Renee and I were trying to like buy gifts for like 30 people. And by the end of the night we realized that, like, well, first of all, I realized that it actually got in the way of us spending time together. And so I didn't like that. But additionally, I realized that all of these gifts were superficial,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the people for whom I would buy gifts that would have meaning and would potentially lead to a deepening of relationship and communion, and with my wife it could be even like, it would be like experiencing the sense of adventure and romance that comes with marriage. Like gift giving is a great good within the proper context. But it was preventing that because I was just like, oh my gosh, what do we need to buy these people?
yeah,
And so, like, I really appreciated his point. But that's an aspect of secular Christmas culture.
yeah.
And so what do you think? What do you think about that specifically, right? But then deepening it, what are the traditions of secular Christmas that have made their way into religious families, right? Who fully intend to celebrate Christmas properly, right?
Yeah.
And does it prevent it? Does it add to it? What does it mean to celebrate Christmas properly? You know what I mean? Like, what? Let's dig into
Yeah.
this.
Well, I think Lewis does a great job in like the first two paragraphs or so of this very brief essay, which you rightly pointed out was less than 2 pages long, which is, I
Mm.
agree with you, fantastic.
Yeah, it's ideal.
Like,
It's ideal.
I'll make fun of your attention span, but I have the same one. So,
Right, right,
you,
right. But let's not kid
yeah,
ourselves.
we are of the same mind. So, I think Lewis does a great job. He points out that there's the religious meaning of Christmas, that we are celebrating the birth of Christ, and that has to be the primary. Then he says that the second meaning is this idea of just sort of the way that Christmas has become a holiday respected by everyone. It is Christmas time,
Hmm.
and so we all recognize that this is something has to happen. So if Christmas means goodwill to men, like let's be nice to each other for a day, and let's all take the day off from work. Good. That's a starting point. It's not the fullest meaning of Christmas, but then he says, like the religious part, if that's what you like, if the just like let's take the day off and try to be nice to each other during Christmas, that's fine. He goes, but that's your business. And then I
Mm,
like how he says this. This last part though is everyone's business, because he's talking about the business of Christmas and sort of
mm,
the consumers. Now, keep in mind this is C.S. Lewis, so he's not writing in our era. He is writing
right,
80 years ago. Right? This is not a
right.
70, 80 years ago. Yeah, 80 years ago. Right? This had it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this particular essay was written in like it's either the late 40s or early 50s.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So 70 years
I
ago.
couldn't find an exact date. I did look, I just couldn't find one.
All right, so let's call it 70 years ago. He's writing this. Again, that doesn't feel like recent history to us.
No,
He's writing something 70 years ago, and he's identifying something that already is cemented. Now,
right,
then you start realizing that like we've been complaining about the commercialism of Christmas
right,
forever. Like Charlie
right,
Brown Christmas, right? A Charlie Brown Christmas. The whole thing is Christmas is too commercial.
right, right,
A
right.
Charlie Brown Christmas came out
He
in the
didn't even see the Target
right.
commercials.
The Charlie Brown Christmas came out in the 60s. It's not something
Right.
new. And I think this is really important to pay attention to. So Lewis is talking about the fact that there's this commercial thing where actually let's go back. Where does the tradition of gift giving come from on Christmas?
Hmm.
The idea of giving gifts flows out of what the Magi did.
Hmm.
That the wise men from the east came bearing gifts to offer to the newborn king. And so the
Right.
idea was that symbolically we share those gifts. Add to that, you've got St. Nicholas on December 6th. And St.
Right.
Nicholas, who is famous for bringing gifts to the people who were in need. I mean, literally giving them money,
Yeah.
anonymously throwing money through their windows so that they wouldn't like have to sell their daughters into slavery. He's
Right. Right.
anti-human trafficking is what he's doing.
Right.
Of
Right.
course,
Right.
we wouldn't have had that
Saint
language.
Nick, good
Yeah,
guy.
we wouldn't have had that language until a few years ago, but we can use it now, which is good. But
Right.
that's
Right.
basically what.
I just want to interrupt you for 1 second.
Please.
Have you seen the meme about Saint Nick that says, "I came to give gifts to children and to punch heretics." Dot dot dot. And I just ran out of gifts.
I appreciate that.
Saint Nicholas, gift giver, Arius puncher.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to be.
Oh yeah.
But like again, in the context of Saint Nicholas and sort of the tradition of doing what he did, and
Mhm.
then uh, also sometimes what Nicholas was doing was he was providing money so that a family could have a dowry, so their daughter could
Right.
get married. And so that's why Lewis talks about the like you give a gift to the person you love.
Mhm.
Like lovers exchanging gifts,
Mhm.
because out of it in romance. So the idea that like there's a certain romance to Christmas, and even listen to some of the old Christmas carols, and like the really old ones. I'm not talking about like Wham and Last Christmas, which by the way,
Yeah, yeah.
Wham's Last Christmas is a terrible, terrible song. It is anti theology of the body. It
Yeah.
just it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's
It's an anti-Christmas
it
song.
is it is redolent of a very unhealthy approach to human relationship. Let's say it that way.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
encourage healthy human relationships. So don't listen to Wham.
Right.
Anyway,
Right. Also, the name of the band is Wham.
and what else do you know about them other than this dumb Christmas song? Nothing. That's the answer. Okay, sorry. With this voice, I sound like I'm angrier than I actually am. Uh, I
You
apologize.
sound like C.S. Lewis writing this
This is
essay.
grouchy, 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 grinch, grinch, grinch. Yeah. No, but what we see is like there is a beauty and a love to gift giving at Christmas, and there should be.
Mhm.
So you've got Saint Nicholas, and then you've got the sort of the Christian imitation of the three kings, and so these traditions of giving gifts that are actually part of how we as Christians mark the celebration. Like to mark these feasts and these mysteries, it makes sense that we would give gifts. However, as Christianity is ascendant, so historically, right, Christianity becomes the majority religion in so many places. And so with that, Christianity influences everything about the calendar, everything about the culture, which means that in preparation for the feast, people are going out there buying food, they're getting ready for things. And so the commerce and the economy is going to end up being rooted in that. And pretty soon you've got some clever shopkeepers who are like, hey, we can make some money off of this. So there's people who are saying,
Naturally.
let's sell the gifts that people want. And then you start gathering up more money, or getting more money, earning more money because you're selling to the people who are trying to do this stuff. And pretty soon Christmas takes on this much more, uh, a much more commercial aspect.
Yeah.
And so slowly the Christian meaning behind gift giving is getting lost. And as that Christian meaning behind gift giving is getting lost, you're going to start to see also like I guess just an increasing pressure, right? Because the gift giving now is it's expanding. You're supposed to have
Hmm.
gifts for everybody. And to Lewis's point in the essay, he says, I don't know if you have the essay in front of you there,
Yeah, I do.
but he talks about the pointless gifts, or like the gifts that are just nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, he says well, at some point he calls it he calls it rubbish, and he suggests that not only would he not like to buy rubbish, he would rather than buy things that he considers garbage, he would rather just make a donation to the shop and call it charity.
Can I get my tax return letter now?
Right. It's
See,
so funny.
I like the idea of like, okay, this is where maybe me and Lewis are gonna diverge a little bit, because
Mhm.
I like stupid gifts.
Sure, sure.
I like buying useless things for people and giving them to them because I think it's funny.
Yeah, but even there, right? Like that's not a meaningless gift, because I don't think that's really what he's talking about. Meaning like he's not saying, because that's got meaning, right? Like if someone gives you a stupid gift that you find amusing, that's because it's a shared joke between people, and that has value.
That's true. Can I
So like
can I tell you one of my
I
all
think he
time
literally.
favorites?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
this is one of my greatest moves ever. So I love a good white elephant gift exchange. You
Okay.
know what a white elephant is, right? Like,
Is it basically Secret Santa?
yes, but no. So it's
Okay.
like similar to a Yankee swap.
I don't know what that is
A
either.
Yankee swap is like you bring a gift, you put it in the pile, and then you pick a gift, and then somebody else can
Mm,
steal your gift or pick their own
I see.
gift. So there's like a gifts getting passed around and everything, and then there's like the
Yeah.
white elephant. The white elephant is the gifts all have to be stupid.
Oh, I
The
see.
whole
I
idea
see.
is that
Okay.
these are meant to be things that you don't want. Like,
I see.
a group of priest friends and I a couple years ago.
You're right. C.S. Lewis would hate
Yeah,
that.
the the rule for the gift exchange that we did was find the worst thing on your parish property
Mm,
that you can take for free and
right.
give. And so like I found a VHS in like an old storage closet. There was this VHS cassette about liturgical dance.
Oh my gosh.
And I had never seen it, but I'm like, I'm absolutely giving this. So
Right.
thank God this was awesome at the rectory where we did this, because rectories are often repositories of old stuff, that
Right.
people
Yeah.
don't feel comfortable throwing away. There was a VCR, and so we watched this horrible thing about, oh, it was awful. It was just awful
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
liturgical dance.
You watched it, and then you all collectively decided to burn it.
I didn't burn it, but we did dismantle the entire VHS so that it would never
Hmm.
have to be
Hmm.
seen by anyone else again, because
Hmm.
it was so bad. But anyway, that's not my best. My best was I was in a bookstore, like a Barnes and Noble or a Borders bookstore or something. And as I was going to check out, I had bought serious books to give to people that I cared about because I wanted them to read these good books, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then at the checkout counter, I noticed these glittering purple or silver figurines. Now, glitter, first of all, let me just say this very clearly. Glitter is the devil's craft. It's
Okay.
his favorite
Okay.
craft supply. It
Coming in
is,
strong on
yeah, no,
glitter.
glitter
Okay.
is straight from the bowels of hell. It's terrible. You can't walk within like 10 feet of glitter without getting glitter on you. And when you're a priest, there's
Yeah.
no good explanation for why there's glitter on you.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I hate glitter a
Yeah.
lot.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so there I am.
I'll return the gift I bought you
Thank
for
you.
Christmas now.
I look at these figurines and I realize that there's purple and silver figurines of the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Oh my gosh.
These
Oh
figurines of the
no.
Blessed Virgin Mary in glitter purple or glitter silver. I don't know why purple and silver were the colors,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
These are the people that liked liturgical dance. That's why.
this is at a secular bookstore, so it makes no sense. It's not, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
just Mary. There's no Joseph. There's no baby Jesus. It's just
Yeah.
Mary by herself. So I'm like, I don't get it. So I picked one up and I looked at it and I realized that in the back of Mary's head there was a coin slot because this was also a piggy bank.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So I got one of the purple ones
Nice. Okay.
and I gave it.
And you gave it to the bishop.
No, that would have been amazing. I didn't have the confidence at the time to give something like that to my bishop. No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
gave it to my friend Michelle. And Michelle she and her husband have a wonderful family. I'm godfather to some of their kids. It's great. So I gave this to her, and she turned around and did exactly what I was hoping she would do, which was she gave it to someone else.
Yeah. And now it's out there.
Well, I think that the people that she gave it to, like sneakily brought it to her house on a visit and like left it with her. I think. I don't remember. I'll have to
Right.
check with her and find out, or she'll listen to this
Right.
podcast and tell me the whole story.
Yeah.
She might not be grateful for the shout out, but it was one of my
Right.
favorite
Right.
stupid gifts. I love a stupid gift, and I love giving a stupid gift to people. So like, I'm very
Yeah.
much in favor of that kind of consumer commercialistic Christmas.
Right. Right.
Because I like that. However, I think what Lewis is getting at, let's come back to the point. Lewis is getting at that idea that there's got to be this pressure to buy presents. Like if somebody gives me a present, I have to now add them to my list to give them a present. So I'm going to give them something useless. So you give me a symbolic gift. I'm going to give you a symbolic gift back. So like, thank you very much for this fruit basket that you didn't put any time or energy into. You just went to the fruit
Right.
basket store and you ordered one on like edible arrangements and had it sent to my
Right,
house.
right.
Thanks. This is going directly in the trash.
Not sponsored, but would accept one.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Like it's the same thing like the Christmas fruitcake. Like we've been making fun of fruitcake
Yeah.
for years. Fruitcake has kind of been displaced, I think, in the dumb Christmas gift idea. But like
Yeah.
the fruitcake was the symbol. It became like the very real symbol of I didn't know what else to get you.
I see.
So
I
I
see.
gave you this.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a symbol that like I care enough to give you a gift, but I don't care about you enough to give you a gift that means something to you.
Right.
And I think
yeah.
that the new version of that is scented candles or a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't know who you are, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to give you this bottle and I hope that you don't have a drinking problem. Or
Right. And for children, it's like, I mean, not that children recognize this, and children would probably be excited to receive almost anything, but it's the equivalent to like buying a random toy on Amazon. You know what I mean? Being like, yeah, 7-year-olds like this.
yeah.
You know, and that message is like received by the parents. You know what I mean? Like again, the kid's probably actually happy to receive a toy. You know, but
Yeah, hoping for the best. Let's see what happens.
yeah,
But the thing is, I kind of like what he's getting at with like, all right, Christmas cards, and how the Christmas card list gets wild and crazy over time.
Yeah.
And like, I haven't sent a Christmas card. I'm going to be very honest. This sounds bad, but it's not really possible for me to do it. I haven't sent Christmas cards other than a couple years ago. We did like a parish Christmas card. And we sent it to everybody in the parish, but I haven't sent like a real Christmas card in 20 years.
right. I mean, the other thing is like, all right, let's take that, right? Because we didn't send a Christmas card this year. Renee wanted to. We just didn't get it together in time, and so we bailed on it a week and a half ago. We were like, it's not happening this year. Next year, we'll go for next year. Every time we have a new kid, we're gonna send a Christmas card. But the idea, like what if instead of sending out a Christmas card with your favorite pictures to 150 people, right? Wow, that would be a lot. That's probably more than anybody does. But 50 people.
I
you know?
doubt that it's
What
more
if
than
you
anybody
sent-
does. I'd say actually
Oh, you
150
do?
is probably
Okay.
less than most people.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, what if you actually just wrote out, like hand wrote a Christmas card, you know, as a form of appreciation for those friends and families, who you love, right? Like a special gift. Because I was thinking about this morning. Uh, I've bought Renee Christmas gifts, just for the record, but I was thinking about how I could like go over the top with it. Like again in the context of this conversation, it's like, you know what, Renee should be receiving the most special gifts from me. Like that's like she should not get, like, I should be at the top of the list every year, right? Her parents shouldn't get her better gifts than I get her. And I don't mean that they shouldn't be trying hard. I mean, I should be trying
I
hard.
thought for a second when you said I should be at the top of the list, like she should be getting me the best gifts.
No, no, no. Well, I mean, maybe arguably that as well. You know what I mean? But the point being, like, in the terms of like, if gifts are supposed to be a sign of love, like she should be the one who I put the most effort into, her and my children. Like, that's how it should go. And so I was like, you know what would really, like, I know Renee would really appreciate receiving a handwritten note. Like, so like the idea of a Christmas card is a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is also kind of to the point, which I was thinking about it while you were talking about Lewis a little earlier, about how gift giving, like, to read the essay and reach the conclusion that buying material goods for others is bad, is to miss the point of the essay, right? Like purchasing gifts isn't a secular tradition. Purchasing gifts is, I guess, a Christian tradition, but in our world today, it's kind of like a neutral act, and it's kind of like how you do it. Are you doing this with love, and out of love and out of friendship, or are you doing this out of being compelled by our commercial culture?
Well, that right there, that's the thing that I think he might have been feeling, and I don't know if we feel it the same way anymore. And this is where, like, maybe there's been a development in our in our understanding. So he's writing about this as though there's a social expectation that if you send me a Christmas card or if you give me a gift, that I now have to give you a gift in return. And I think that actually is that's the antithesis of gift giving. The whole point of a gift is I'm giving you something freely, expecting nothing in return.
Nothing. Right. Yeah.
Like,
right.
I don't give you a gift because you gave me something and I feel obliged to do that.
Right. I literally feel bad if I don't get you a gift.
Right. It should be like,
it's totally missed the point.
But so here's the thing. If I can cultivate in my own heart, like, gratitude when somebody gives me a gift, just be thankful. I'm not good at thank you notes, but I get to them eventually. It just takes me longer than I want. I won't lie about that. I would like.
I think that's the story of every person except for the exceptional ones.
So you want a good example? I'm gonna shout him out here. Father John Connaughton at St. Cecilia St. Gabriel's in Stamford. He is an excellent thank you note writer. Like, I think that what happens if something happens, you do something for him, or you show up, or something like that, or you've hosted him or something. I think he goes home and he writes a thank you note, and the next morning it goes in the mail.
Right.
And he's on the ball with it, just to acknowledge and to say thank you. He's excellent at that. It's a good example for me to follow. I'm gonna just say that about him. I think he's excellent that way. Anyway, we get into this idea sometimes that, like, I have to give something in return instead of giving our gratitude. Likewise, I think Lewis is pointing out that sometimes gift giving is done so there's the love language of gift giving. Right? If you do the love languages, gift giving can be a sign of love, but it can also, like, in this case, it's not a love language. And what Lewis is talking about is more of the manipulative aspect of it, which is, I gave you something. Now you owe me one.
Right.
Now you've got to give me something. And that's the antithesis of the Christmas spirit. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Man, who would have thought that C.S. Lewis could pack so much into, 500 words?
Hey, he's got a ton in there, and it's really good. It really is.
Yeah.
So there's that sense of gift giving should not then create an obligation for anyone. Like, we don't want our gift giving to be the thing that now creates I have to do something, or I have to perform in some way. Like, gift giving should be something that's sincerely generous. Here's an
Right.
authentic gift that I'm offering to you, and that's all it is. It's nothing more
Right.
than that authentic gift.
Right. And so, all right. So Christmas is about the authentic gift, right? Like, because that's where the gift giving comes from, right? Like the source of the true way to give a gift is Christmas itself, right? And so, how does one properly practice Christmas? That's the wrong way of saying it. Celebrate Christmas. Um, it's not a habit you get into, although maybe it should be. But you know what I mean? Like, cause so here would be like my off the top of my head guess, right? It's like, how do you celebrate Christmas? Well, there's the religious aspect. So you go to mass, and ideally you're participating in mass well, and you're offering yourself to the Lord in the way that you should be, right? And then you gather with friends and family, and you do exchange gifts, right? Um, but I mean, there's just a piece of me that I think there's just a piece of me that realizes that I've never thought through the question of like, what does it mean to celebrate Christmas the way it's intended, other than perhaps the surface level, which is, and it's like, I'm not saying the surface level's wrong. Like, I think all of those things are correct. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what's the deeper level to
Well,
that?
go back to Elf. All right.
I would love to.
Let's talk about Elf, because I think Elf, it kind of beautifully captures a lot of this. All right.
Yeah.
What's the main problem in Elf? Besides the fact that Buddy the Elf's father is on the naughty list.
Hmm. I don't know.
It
I don't remember this movie, Father Sam.
well,
I've seen it like 4 times. This is why I liked this essay,
that's
Father.
all.
It took me 90 seconds to read it,
But
okay?
look, Elf does not require a long attention span. But okay, let me fill you in on the culture that you've missed in the last 20 years of not watching Elf
No,
every
I've
single
seen this
opportunity
movie.
it's
I've
on.
seen the movie Elf at least 3 times.
That's
I just don't remember
again
it.
that's it. That's insufficient. But okay,
I'm gonna tell Steve today that one of the things I have to do at work is watch Elf.
yes.
That way I can be up to the times in regards to our culture.
First off, I think Steve
and
will
so
join you in watching Elf. I think he will.
I don't know if
participate.
that's true, but okay.
Besides the fact that Buddy the Elf's father is on the naughty list, one of the problems and the reason that Santa Claus, played brilliantly by Ed Asner, of all people to play Santa Claus, Ed Asner was a fantastic choice. Anyway, that's a sidebar for a second. The casting in Elf it's great. I think they did a great job. Okay, moving on. Sorry.
I think that this episode title should just be comparing Elf with C.S. Lewis.
Well, look, we can do this with other Christmas movies too. I'm quite comfortable and prepared to do this. One of the other important
I know
things.
that is so evident.
Oh, yeah.
That is so evident that your Christmas movie consumption and retention is so much greater than mine.
I won't lie. I enjoy good Christmas movies, and there's something fun about them. But here's the thing that's all right. In Elf, the reason that Santa's sleigh won't fly is because there's not enough Christmas spirit. His sleigh is powered by Christmas spirit. And what is Christmas spirit? It's never really answered. Like, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. But singing about what?
Right.
Like, if you're just singing about Christmas as this vague sort of December-ish holiday, like, what the heck does that mean? That doesn't have anything to do with anything. Okay?
Right.
So how do we properly celebrate Christmas? Actually, hang on. Can we do a current event thing?
Sure.
Okay. On the Sherman Green in Fairfield. I'm assigned in Fairfield. I love the town of Fairfield. I think it's a great place. I've been very blessed to serve here for a long time. Every year around Christmas time, the Knights of Columbus set up a creche. And for a long time, the creche was not permitted to be left unattended. It wasn't permitted to be left unattended because it was a religious display. And on a public space, the town didn't want to give the impression of supporting one religion over another, right? So they said it had to be manned at all times so that it was a display, not a town decoration or something. And so the
Hmm.
Knights of Columbus, well, this gentleman named Nello Ceccarelli for many years kept vigil with his goat. He took his pet goat with him to the manger, and his goat's name was also Nello, which I thought was funny. Um, and this man, just a man of deep faith, would keep this vigil. Over time, as he got very elderly, the Knights of Columbus stepped in to support him and to help him with this. And when he
Hmm.
passed, the manger scene was passed to the Knights of Columbus, and they've been maintaining it. So a couple years ago, they moved it to the Sherman Green, but the town still has this stipulation that it has to be manned 24 hours. Well,
Hmm.
um, I just read in the newspaper that um, the Sherman Green decorations, because they put lights on the trees and everything, now includes a menorah. And first off, I think that's great. But the the thing that this article talks about is that it was seen that there were too many things about Christmas and nothing for the Jewish people. So they put the
Hmm.
menorah there as a way of saying, like, you're here, you're part of our community, which again I think is great. But there's nothing explicitly religious about any of the symbols that they have at the Sherman Green. The lights on a Christmas tree is not an explicitly religious symbol. Uh,
Right.
Santa Claus is not an explicitly religious symbol. In fact,
Right.
the yeah, like he's not he's Saint Nicholas, but not the way that we have depicted him in modern art, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
that we're not dealing with a religious symbol here. Um,
Yeah.
and it's funny that the Knights of Columbus will have to fight to have their religious display, but it's okay for a menorah to be left unattended. Now,
Mm.
again, I don't have an issue with the menorah, but
Right.
the
Right.
logic of the town's argument has been in the past that
Right.
the
You can't
manger,
leave a religious display.
right, that the
Right.
manger is explicitly
Unattended.
religious. And
Right.
my point here is, like, if it's okay for us to have a menorah, and I think it is okay for us to have a menorah, I also think it's okay to have a manger, because
Right.
Christmas is literally the Christian celebration of the birth of Christ. But this is where Lewis is highlighting something, that this third meaning of Christmas, the commercial meaning of Christmas, is what
Hmm.
has taken the priority in our culture overall.
Right.
And so that third meaning of Christmas is now that Christmas is about buying, it's about giving gifts to each other, it's about Christmas cards, and it's this sort of this sort of, like, I can buy and sell goodwill and
Hmm.
cheer. So if the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear, what are we singing about? And if you look at a lot of, like, the Christmas songs that are out there, they're not singing about anything.
Right. Right.
They do come around on
Right.
Christmas time, and that's fine, but they're not singing about anything. And
Right.
again, I sound like my voice is cracking as I say that, which is hysterical and stupid, and it makes me sound
No,
whiny.
it's just because you're so upset. You know.
If you're just listening to this, I'm actually crying right now. It's terrible. Matt is
Yeah.
embarrassed. It's anyway.
Yeah. No.
No,
I embrace you for who you are.
thank you, thank you. Okay, but the that idea of Christmas spirit and the lack of Christmas spirit is never actually answered in Elf.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's a question of, do people believe in Santa Claus? Do people believe in Christmas spirit? It's not a
Right.
question of, do we understand what Christmas is really about? And this is where actually, like, the religious element of celebrating Christmas comes back in. Because if you're
Hmm.
dissatisfied with all of the, like, the hustle and bustle, and Lewis talks about it in this essay, folks, please go and read this essay, find it somehow. It's amazing, right? Did you,
Hmm.
like, Matt, I'm so glad you found this. It,
Yeah. Yeah.
do you
Me
think it's
too. Me too.
available online anywhere?
I'm not. I'll look, and if it is, I'll put it in the show notes.
Awesome. Because
Yeah.
I just think that it's really good. But he's talking about the weeks leading up to Christmas being occupied by a constant press in shops and in stores of trying to buy things and sell things and send letters and packages and everything. And it's pretty wild. Like, I was in New York City last week for a wedding, and just trying to walk to the church to do the wedding, I had to
Hmm.
walk past Rockefeller Center, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out ways to go around it. I haven't been to New York in ages for any reason.
Hmm.
And I had 2 straight days where I got to go into the city, which was actually really kind of fun.
Hmm.
But man, I don't like New York City at Christmas time because
Hmm.
here we are. It was 20 days before Christmas, 21 days before Christmas. And like there's this crush of people everywhere just to take a picture of a tree.
Right.
And I don't want to begrudge people like the
No,
coolness of
no.
this tree. It's a landmark. There's a whole like American cultural icon status to that.
Right.
And I do
And not
appreciate
everybody
that.
is from this area,
Right,
you know? Like
exactly.
it's a tourist
Exactly.
destination.
And here's the reality, right? When you and me, man, Matt, when we go to New York City, what are we? We are tourists,
Yeah.
right? But like
Yeah.
I think because we grew up in the greater New York metropolitan area, we don't feel like we're really tourists, but we are. But we don't feel like we're really
I don't
tourists.
know. I went to New York City a lot as a kid. I got family there.
Yeah, but you kind of know how to act when you're there. You know how to
Yeah, yeah,
walk.
yeah.
You know how not to get in
Yeah.
somebody's way.
Heck, I lived in Brooklyn for a little bit.
Yeah. And you know that if somebody like bumps you with their shoulder, you just keep walking. Like
Yes, that's for
don't
sure.
turn around and say excuse me, just keep going because you just bumped into a crazy person and they're going to yell at you. Just keep walking.
Yeah.
It's like it's the way to go. Anyway. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
We can get so caught up in all of that stuff. That's not really important. And the religious aspect, like remembering that Christmas is about the birth of Christ. And why is it that Christ comes? Christ comes to preach the good news to us, to show us the way to salvation, to get us back to basics, and to get us back to following the Lord, and to knowing God present in our lives. And that's the whole point. The gift giving, the hustle and bustle, like the running around, all of that stuff can, if we allow it, get in the way. It doesn't have to though.
Yeah.
And if you spend Christmas with people, or just like in the lead up to Christmas, if you spend the lead up to Christmas with people who also have some sensibility of Advent, like it's something as simple as
Right.
keep an Advent calendar at your house,
Hmm.
right? That there's this reminder in the home that we are in Advent. We're in a season of preparation. Yeah, we're going to decorate. Yeah, we're going to get everything set. We're going to put out the Christmas lights outside. We're going to do all of that stuff so that
Hmm.
we're like getting into that mood for Christmas.
Right.
But there's still a sense of it's not Christmas yet.
Yeah.
If we can do the same thing in our churches, right? Like highlight Advent. Don't put up all the Christmas decorations on December 6th,
Right.
right? Like,
Yeah.
wait, get through Advent, like live Advent as Advent, emphasize Advent as Advent.
Yeah.
We can actually do something then to stem that, or to at least influence that chaos that often is present. There's nothing wrong with giving gifts. There's nothing wrong with buying presents. There's nothing wrong with sending Christmas cards. Like
No,
I
no.
love getting Christmas cards, and I think that the modern technology that we have, again, like your description of handwritten Christmas cards, by the way,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
I support you in doing that.
Yeah.
I don't want one, but I support you in doing that.
You weren't on my list anyway.
I didn't think I would be. No, I've seen your handwriting. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, but the
That's pretty
idea of
funny.
something handwritten, I think that actually is very beautiful.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
more and more people are realizing that there are certain things like I have to do this by hand for this person. I have to do something special
Mhm.
for this person, and that I can do the token gift. I can do the token card for these other folks, and that's okay, right?
Mhm.
What I love, I do actually really appreciate getting the picture cards because
Mhm.
I'll get them from people who I don't see all the time. Friends of mine, family members who live out of state, people who like maybe I know from a previous assignment, or I know in some other capacity, and like getting that card and seeing how their family has grown, or uh, just those little visual reminders. It's like it's good to see. You know, one of my
Mhm.
favorite ones was I get like inundated by these cards, right? That are sent by very kind, good people. Um, I get this one card one year, and it's just two kids, and that's it, just two kids on the card, and I have
Mhm.
it's like a generic Irish sounding name
Mhm.
family with no list of who the family members are. And I'm looking at this going, I have no idea who these children are. I have
Nice,
absolutely
nice.
no clue who this family
Yeah,
is. It was from an address I didn't recognize. It wasn't like an address in my parish. I'm going, what? What the heck? And I just left it on my desk and I would look at it and try to remember who these people were and like just willing myself to know and understand. Well, it was a couple whose wedding I had done years before
right,
and whose kids I had never met. But they
right,
only put
right,
their kids on the card and they didn't put any names. And it took
right,
me
right.
2 solid weeks to figure out who they were.
Yeah, yeah. Solid joke would be to send out a bunch of Christmas cards with the stock photo. You know what I mean?
Like when you go online to make the card, they've got like a picture in
Yeah,
place and
yeah.
you're
You
supposed
just
to
don't
substitute
change
yours.
anything. Yeah. And then you sign it from your names. That'd be so
I
funny.
do kind of love that idea. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that'd be great.
Um, okay, so here's my last topic, I think.
Okay.
Um, recognizing that for better or for worse, and to an extent, right? Like I said, I think there is an aspect of better. Most Americans celebrate Christmas in this fairly secular way. You know, um, I do think that there's a little bit of a blessing in this, and that blessing being like it's a tremendous opportunity for evangelization. Like there is an immediate Christian talking point
Mm-hmm.
with the various non-practicing Christians or just like you know what I mean? Like I grew up knowing Jewish people who celebrated Christmas. You know what I mean? Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Right.
that was
Right.
probably because for whatever reason, you know. But I was funny enough, I was griping with Renee, you know. We were driving home from Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago and I think it was the day after Thanksgiving or
Yeah.
like 2 days after Thanksgiving and there was Christmas decorations up and I was like my first words were like, "Are you kidding me?"
The
And then
Christmas
within like 10,
decorations have been
15,
up since Halloween.
right. And the thing is, like, I caught myself because I was like, you know what? That's good. Like, it's at least good that there's an element of secular Christmas celebration that is anti true Christian spirit, but at least there's like a door that's open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a door that's open and there's a conversation that could be had, even if it's with one person, you know? And so I kind of like, I chose to settle on what a blessing that there's a little crack in the door.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
what do you think of that?
I agree with you. I think that anything that we can do that keeps Christmas.
Right.
Here it is out in front, um, and that can kind of remind us of these things that are really important. It's good, but I think also the more we can highlight what Christmas really is, that we are celebrating, not the giving of gifts, not the arrival of a man coming down the chimney, but rather we are celebrating
Right.
the arrival of the one who comes from heaven to
Right.
dwell with us. That we are celebrating the gift that is God in the flesh.
Mhm.
That's really anytime we can highlight this. So I think for us as Catholics, the key thing to do is to highlight that reality as much as
Mhm.
possible. So here's my thing for Catholics. All right, if you want to like really mark Christmas well, give all the gifts you can. Like send all the Christmas cards, decorate your house
Mhm.
like crazy. Like try to win the neighborhood light contest. I don't mind you doing the full
Right.
Clark Griswold. By the way, that's a reference to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yes, I was aware of that one
Oh,
actually.
okay. I wasn't sure, what you would know there.
Yes. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for yeah. No, I appreciate
How
it.
many-
It was your guess that it was gonna be necessary was a good
Yeah.
guess.
How many times have you seen that one?
Only once.
Oh,
Only
okay.
once.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I might confuse or scandalize people with the number of times that I have seen certain movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
Like, where do you find the time for that, Father? And I don't have an excuse. It's just that I've seen them a lot.
It's just that I love Downton Abbey.
I'm also
And I've seen it 6 times.
I think I've seen it 3 times, but I do love Downton Abbey. You're not
I
wrong.
actually also enjoy
It's
Downton Abbey. I think it
excellent.
was a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like The Office, I've seen more times than any normal person should have. Um,
yeah.
but
We own the box set,
here's
so you're
well,
good.
this is the other thing. Like I grew up in the era of VHS, and so
Hmm.
like the videos that you owned or the videos that you could borrow, um,
Right.
like sometimes video stores were too expensive. Like Blockbuster was an expensive membership. So
Yeah.
you could get videos for free from the public library. The public library just
Hmm.
had a very limited selection. So I saw Field of
Right.
Dreams about 150 times as a child,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
if there was a movie that we liked, we'd buy the cassette as soon as it came out, and that way we could keep watching it. So there are certain movies that like I saw The Mighty Ducks like dozens of times annually. Right. So
Right.
there are certain
The
images.
Mighty
Yeah.
Ducks. Not where I thought you were going.
Look, you want to talk about
Everybody's favorite Christmas movie, The Mighty Ducks.
well, I wouldn't call it a Christmas movie, although it does take place in winter. So in that sense, yes, it's a Christmas
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
It's
To quote your creation of an adjective before, Decemberish.
it's a December-ish movie, right?
Yeah.
There are, and Die Hard is a Christmas movie for anybody who's wondering. I know that was on your mind, but
Right.
there are these great movies that like are great to me because I watched them so many times as a
Mhm.
kid. They're not necessarily
Mhm.
great because they're cinematic masterpieces, but I saw them a bunch,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't remember where this was going, and it's not really that important. But
You were saying we should win. We can win our neighborhood light competition. We can deck it
Keep-
out at the house. We can.
keep Christmas at the forefront, like so that people are aware that you are celebrating Christmas, that this is something important. But then I think the religious observation is really important, and this is where like I wish I could go back in time and just try to reset everybody's mentality about going to mass on Christmas,
Mm.
because midnight mass was something that was long practiced in the life of the church. But then they started adding the earlier masses also.
Mhm.
And so like now you have people who are doing a 4 p.m. mass on Christmas.
Yeah.
And so often it's not a condemnation against anyone, but it might sound like that. And I don't mean for it to sound like that. I'm aware of how grumpy I might sound with this. But like the 4 p.m. mass, I worry makes people think we have to get mass out of the way so that we can do Christmas.
Right.
And then it's like we went to mass, and again, I understand that there's people who like the first thing we do is we go to mass. And then we do the things with our family, and then we do these other things. So I can appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
If that's the mentality of going to the 4 p.m. mass on Christmas Eve, more power to you. Mass is the most
Right.
important thing. Mass is the priority. Thank God for that. That's great. But there's some who I think it's like, well, we're supposed to go to mass. And if you see the number of people who come to the 4 o'clock mass, have you been to a 4 o'clock mass on Christmas Eve?
It's been a while.
I don't-
Usually. So I'm actually glad you're bringing this up, because we've been trying to figure out how to do Christmas mass now that we have a baby,
Yeah. And
because like
well, so my feeling
would love to do midnight mass. That is not in the cards for me for like the next 10 years.
Yeah, right. My feeling
You know?
is that like Christmas Eve, if you've got to do that 4 o'clock mass, that should be the mass for families with young children, with babies.
Right.
Like to say, if you want to start for your children, cultivating in them a mentality of going to mass on Christmas Eve in the nighttime when it's dark, bring them to the 4 o'clock mass. I think that's a great thing. The number of like people who are just coming in, I've seen people show up to 4 o'clock mass at 2 p.m. and sit in the church and cover pews with jackets who I've never seen before in my life.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm so glad that you're here for mass. You are 2 hours early for mass just so you can get seats. I would love to see you on Sunday.
Right. Right.
And like, forgive me for sounding cynical because that's not my intention,
No.
but like, I can't help feeling that way.
Yeah,
Then-
but also like I gotta say, because I don't think that that's cynical. I think that pretending otherwise is like an awkward form of gaslighting.
Oh yeah, no, I should just be grateful that they're here, right? I should just be happy that
No,
they came
no,
to
no,
mass.
and it's like, no,
No,
you want them to be there. Of course, you want
I
them to
want
be
you here
there.
every Sunday,
Right?
like
Yeah.
every Sunday and for Christmas. But like, hey, come
I
on,
mean, you're
come
getting
participate.
choked up.
Yeah, exactly. Remind me never to record a podcast with you when my voice sounds like this. No, so my thing to Catholics would be, if you really want to do this, then either do the midnight mass or whatever
Hmm.
is the midnight mass at your parish, because sometimes midnight mass is at 10 p.m. Right?
Right.
Like do that.
Right.
Don't do the earlier one if you can avoid it. Or go to mass on Christmas Day in the morning. And that might mean that you say to the kids, like, hey guys, we have time to open this many presents, and then we get ready for church. And we can come back and finish opening the presents after that.
Yeah.
Right. See, like maybe it's also part of the way that I was raised, because we went to mass on Christmas Day always when I was a
Right.
kid. Um,
Yeah.
and only a handful of times did we go to mass on Christmas Eve. So like opening presents and then going to church was our most normal thing in the world to do.
Right.
Go to mass on Christmas Day. Skip the Christmas Eve thing. Have Christmas Eve with your family. Do all the parties and
Right.
the dinners and everything. Like that's great. Then go to
Yeah.
mass on Christmas morning, and you still have plenty of time before you've got to be at anybody's house for Christmas dinner, right? Like
Yeah.
in that way, what you're doing is you're saying the day itself, December 25th, the day on which we celebrate the nativity of our Lord, that's the thing that's the priority. So we're going to celebrate the nativity of the Lord on its proper day with mass at church, and then we'll do all the other stuff. Again, anybody who's a practicing Catholic who's going to mass on Christmas Day already has the right attitude. They're already doing the
Yeah.
right thing. Whether they go Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, the mass is clearly an important part of your Christmas celebration.
Yeah, but I think that you're right, right? And so like I'll reflect on myself, which is I don't know that I've had that thought of mass is the celebration of Christmas.
Yeah.
Like
Everything else
'cause
is
that's what-
extra.
everything else is extra. You don't need to open gifts, and it's good that you do.
Mhm.
You don't need it. It's not essential to the spirit of Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Like the spirit of Christmas is most manifest, hopefully, with your experience and your participation in the mass.
Yeah.
Right? Like it is, while it is primarily the religious holiday.
It,
Like,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
and I think there's something good in taking a stand on that.
yeah, I think as a priest, I might have a slightly skewed approach in that, like, you come to the 4 o'clock mass. The 4 o'clock mass is the first of my masses for Christmas. It's
Right.
your only mass for Christmas,
Yeah, and
right?
there's a difference.
And then,
Yeah.
I'll be around.
I don't work on Christmas.
I do.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I also feel this way about Sunday in general, though. Like, the concept of going out for brunch on Sunday boggles my mind. I'm like, who has time?
Right.
Who has time for brunch on Sunday? And then I
Right,
I
right.
remember that normal people only go to church once on Sunday.
right. Right.
But like
right.
Christmas, I really do love it. But there have been Christmases where I finish with the last mass on Christmas Day, and I go back to the rectory and take a nap, and
Right.
it's great.
Right.
Years back, before I was pastor, when I was in the vocations office, I didn't have any place that I had to be on Christmas. So
Mhm.
Christmas Eve, I covered a mass at a parish, and then at a different parish on Christmas Day, I covered a mass. What that meant was that I said the one mass Christmas Eve, and it was like one of the early masses. And then I went home and I was with my family. And it was really nice
Right.
to kind of hang out with them. And then I got up
Yeah.
early and went and covered the morning mass at this other parish. And it
Yeah.
was very nice to go and cover that mass and to be there. And then I got to spend the rest of the day with my family. And it really was a very nice thing to be able to do.
Mhm.
I don't have that same luxury anymore because I've got a parish of my own to take care of.
Right,
And what
right.
I love about Christmas is I get to see so many people. I get to see so many members of the parish, and I get to spend Christmas. Like when I was filling in at these two parishes, I didn't know anybody there. I was just,
Mhm.
they needed a priest. I didn't actually know humans who went there. Like at my parish now, this would be my 9th Christmas at the parish, which is awesome. Right?
Yeah.
Like I know these folks.
Is that including when you were the parochial vicar?
No, when I was parochial vicar for, I want to say 3 Christmases.
Right.
So yeah, and then 9 Christmases as a pastor.
As pastor.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Like I really truly I love seeing the people.
Right.
And it's also great because like kids come home from college and you get to see them. Or
Yeah.
I'm also at the point now, I've been here long enough and I'm an old enough man that it's not just like kids come back from college, but it's there's kids who were here when I was parochial vicar who have gone off to college, grown up, gotten married, and now they come with their kids. Like, because they come to town to visit mom and dad who are still parishioners here, and they come with like mom and dad's grandkids. So I'm looking at like my former youth group kids with their babies, and it's like
yeah, that's cool.
It's beautiful, and it's something that I really I'm very, very grateful to be part of. But again, that sense of we're all coming together for something, it goes back to actually the whole point of how did Christmas happen the first time? It was go back to the city you're from. Go back to the place where you're from for a census. And so Joseph and Mary went to Bethlehem, the city of David, the city of Joseph's family, and they went back to be counted, where they would have stayed. We talked to Father Dwight Longnecker about this last year.
Yes.
They would have stayed with family, right? Or they would have stayed in one of the family homes. Some family member would have provided them with a space, a shelter, right? If that's the case, then the idea of coming home for Christmas, like there's no place like home for the holidays, which is another terrible Christmas song, by the way. I hate that one. I think you're a musician, right? I grew up with music in the house and everything. Like I'm super critical of badly written songs or of cheesy melody. I just can't do it. I can't. I just can't.
Fair enough.
Anyway.
Fair enough. I can go for it sometimes. So
sometimes maybe.
Remind me to never send you my music.
Hey man, we're all Ohana.
Oh my gosh, I took that down.
But I remember it. It's still here in my brain, buddy.
I know. Whatever, Bruce Wayne.
I told you about that time where I was listening to like my Spotify playlist, and all of a sudden, I'm like, "That's Matt Sperrazza," and it was like Spotify put you in my playlist.
Yeah,
I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah.
Are you still on Spotify?
Yeah.
Okay, folks.
Yeah. Actually, and I am going to be putting music out within the next I'll have music that comes out in the year 2025.
Sweet.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
I got a couple songs.
All right.
So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey man, I gotta go. I'm just looking at the time.
Yeah, fair enough.
I realized I got an appointment.
Yeah. All right,
hey.
That's good.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. And Merry Christmas to the tens and tens of people who listen to the Tangent. All right, thank you, Father.
Got it, man. Peace.
I'll talk to you soon.